Okay, we'll see if that works. Welcome back to Sprague Homestead. I'm Nikki, and it's just me tonight. Canaan is on the road. He's on a road trip. Had some trouble. It's been kind of spinning for about 5, 6 minutes and didn't want to go. Uh, it's a little too much work for me to try and manage the phone and the laptop at the same time. So I'm going to just do this one from the laptop. So I apologize if the picture's not real good. Caden says he's in traffic hell, so that's a fun. Better him than me. Um, so I guess I'll just start with the normal recap of what's been going on. This one will probably be fairly short. Our MiFi that we use for streaming is not not very charged, so it could be pretty short. Kind of a recap. What's been going on around here is just trying to survive the smoke. There is another fire out near Lakeview right now, about 10 miles from Lakeview. So we're getting a lot of smoke again. We're still getting a lot of smoke from the fires in California. So it's mostly about trying to keep the animals comfortable and keep an eye on everybody. It's been upper 80s into the 90s. A couple days from now, we're going to crash back into the 70s, and who knows if we'll see 90s this year at all. So um, just kind of dealing with the smoke and hoping things to cool off a little. Garden's still kind of going. We've just kind of been, doing the little projects around here. Canaan's been working on car stuff, making room in garage, trying to sell his Porsches, that kind of thing. So it's been hasn't been a terribly exciting couple weeks. I know we missed last week's live stream due to not having any connection. So we'll hope that this one's a little bit better, though I'm not optimistic. Um, we did sell a couple goats, so that's always good. Still got way too many mouths to feed. So if anybody's looking for some goat wethers, we have Nubians and Nigerians looking for a nice place to go, not here. Um, Other than that, I'm trying to catch up on messages. I know I get a ton of them this time of year, mostly about things like ear mites and fur mites, which tend to pick up a lot more in the fall. So I am trying to wade through messages. If you've sent me something, it is taking me up to 2 weeks to get back to you. Sorry, it's just kind of the way it works right now. Um, but I'm trying to get through all those. We're hoping that the weather stabilizes a little bit so that we'll be able to actually start breeding again. We haven't been able to do that since like June or July, I think was the last time I tried. It's just been too hot. Quail have been doing well. I have a whole bunch that I need to go pull out of the incubator tonight. And that's kind of the gist of what's been going on around here. I see Rosehaven Farm is on. Good evening. I was gonna put up a notice that we were doing a live stream tonight, and then I wasn't real sure that I was gonna have time to do it since I'm kind of running the farm by myself today. But um, kind of have a lull before chores, so I had a few minutes. Um, so I don't have anything real exciting to talk about. Michael's on. Hello from Utah, Michael. Um, I guess the big thing I've gotten this question a couple of times this week about what is a heritage breed and what is a rare breed. And I see Robin's on. Glad I can watch, but only because I've been off sick for 2 days. Oh, hope you're feeling better, Robin, or getting feeling better. So what is the difference, heritage breed to rare breed, when we're talking about rabbits? Heritage breed is a little bit different in rabbits than what it is in chickens. So if I remember right, chickens have to have been recognized by the American Poultry Association for like, I think, going on 100 years. Not quite that serious in rabbits, as is, and it has to be an old breed. But I could, I guess, the rare breed is going to be the top 10 rarest breeds in the country. Those have to be ARBA registered breeds, like, or recognized breeds, not registered, recognized breeds. And so the Livestock Conservancy works with ARBA, and they look at things like registrations and convention show numbers and national show numbers. And that's how they determine the health of a breed. So if you could have a million people out there breeding them, but if nobody is registering them with ARBA or showing them, they will end up on the rare breed list. The reason I mention this is I've gotten a ton of people who keep messaging me about silver fox and how rare they are. And guys, I got to tell you, silver fox are one of those things that they aren't as rare as you think they are. There's actually a lot of people raising silver fox. They're just not showing them or registering them. Why that is a lot of people are working on silver fox that are strange colors. Stuff that's like torts and whites and reds and blues and chocolates and things like that. So because they're not being shown and they're not recognized, they don't count, if that makes sense. So when you're talking about a rare breed, just because it's on the rare breed list doesn't mean that it's ultra rare either. Um, I'm gonna look at a couple of these comments because I can't talk and do it at the same time. Elijah, yes, you're correct. Recognized by the APA SOP or ABA SOP for 100 years. That's what I thought. And I don't do show poultry, but I had been kind of reading up on it, but I thought that was right. Uh, let's see. Robin said she got her first Great Pyrenees. She's 3.5 months. Yes, the little dogs aren't her toys. Um, Christopher, I got a double batch of bunnies. I'm giving this first batch away. Second batch, eyes open and moving around good. Would like to pick up a Palomino buck. Any Palomino breeders around Helena, Montana? Get in touch with the Palomino Breeders Association. You can Google them. I don't know any Palomino breeders in Montana. Most of what I know in Montana is like mini lot breeders, Harlequin breeders, and cinnamon breeders is the big things I know in Montana. So we've got gnats everywhere. Um, but yeah, so just because it's a heritage, now you can have a heritage breed like silver fox are a heritage breed. Americans are a heritage breed. Palominos, I believe, are still a heritage breed. Lots of breeds are because they were developed here. So, like the American was widely considered for the longest time the oldest breed in America. Now that's being kind of argued with because the New Zealand Red, which it was not developed in New Zealand, of course, it was developed in California, was developed just slightly beforehand. New Zealand's are kind of a weird thing as far as being a heritage breed because even though they are, a lot of their color varieties are not. They're more recent. So, uh, from what I could find, at least as far as rabbits are concerned, when you add a bunch of colors in, it restarts the clock on whether or not they're heritage. I don't know if that's true. I would love to talk to Eric Stewart and find out. Maybe if I see him at a convention, I can ask him that this year and find out. But the exception to that would be like Silver Fox. I know they're working on blues. If Silver Fox get the blues to pass, it would still be the same because blue is an original color in Silver Fox. So, Christopher, I have some rabbits, proven buck, and maybe some kits and does that I would be willing to trade. Um, well, good good luck to that. I'm sure you can find somebody. There's lots of breeders in Montana. I just don't know anybody that's got palominos up there. Um, so the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about when we're talking about rare breeds and heritage breeds, we got a lot of people getting into them right now, whether it's palominos or American chinchillas or Americans. And the big thing is we keep getting a lot of people interested and then they buy non-pedigreed rabbits and they think they're doing their part to save the breed, and that's not exactly how it works. If you're breeding and you're not registering or exhibiting those animals, they never change the counts. Does that make sense? So, because of the way they calculate rare breeds, we could have 500 different breeders out there breeding Americans in their backyard. If nobody is registering them and nobody is showing them at a national or convention, they don't count. So we get very odd numbers as to what's actually rare and what's not. Like I said, silver fox is actually pretty popular. I know of quite a few breeders in the state of Oregon now. Half of them are not doing registered stock or pedigreed stock even. So if you're not doing that, then you don't count in the numbers, if that kind of makes sense. Elijah says New Zealand's don't do well in our summers here. Most that we have had a heat stroke. They seem very prone. When I had Americans though, they did fine. The Americans are really pretty heat tolerant. They're pretty cool rabbits. Part of it is that great big ear. Um, And even though they're muscly, they're not ultra muscled the way some of the New Zealands are. And I really think that long mandolin body type makes a difference because when they get hot, they will stretch out. And some of my does will stretch all the way across a 36-inch pin. So they are big, big animals. And they're not by size, by weight, really any bigger than the New Zealands. They're in the same weight category. But I think when you can spread all that bulk out and get better airflow, I think it just creates better heat tolerance. Robin, Elijah, I put water bottles in with them. Only problem this summer was fly strike. Ooh, didn't notice too late and lost one. I've heard quite a few people having fly strike issues this year because of misters not placed appropriately or water bottles and that kind of thing. So yeah, fly strike can be ugly, ugly, ugly. I've not had it in the rabbits. I've had it in chickens and I had it in a llama once, but kind of an ugly, gross. Hard to save them. Usually with the rabbits, they go into toxic shock before you can do anything. Chickens are the same way. Um, oh, I didn't realize you had all the little rabbits, Elijah. Lion heads and Polish. Polish are cute. They're a little bug-eyed. They're a little bug-eyed for me. I looked at them and they're really small. They're really small. The smallest I've gotten down to two is the 5-pound Triantas. So the lion heads are cute though. I've kicked that around, but I don't want to fool with a wool braid. Not that they're bad when they're adults, but they are they're pretty rough when they're juniors and that junior really fine, funky wool coat. Right now, I don't know since we've got rabbit people on, how is everybody doing with the molt? Um, it's absolutely wretched here. Like I've got a rabbit that I don't even know what to say for the poor thing. His entire floor is covered in hair, and it just looks like it's rolling off about half of the rabbits. I turned the fans on today, even though we're covered with smoke. It was still pretty hot, and it was just a tornado of fur. It was awful. I would kind of recommend if you're not feeding hay, be feeding hay right now. We're not big hay feeders, but right now with the molt so bad, and I talked to a couple people today from like Indiana and Washington State and a friend in Texas, and everybody seems to be having the same problem. These horrible, horrible molts this year. Lots of fiber. Keep the fiber up really good. Don't be surprised if they are going off of feed a little bit. But lots of fiber. And it probably wouldn't hurt to add some electrolytes and things to the water right now either. Um, I would even recommend like if you've got it anyway, and I don't have any right now, but dried papaya. That kind of helps with wool block and to keep the hair moving. I would imagine before this is all over, a lot of people are going to have some trouble with just wool block and fur block because holy cow, I've never seen rabbits molt so bad. We've got a couple of bucks that tend to molt pretty tough, but holy moly, um, half my barn right now. I mean, like I've got Triantas that are darn near bald in places, the fur is just coming off so fast. It's amazing. Elijah said, I saw your Facebook post. Same here. Terrible molt, especially on the Rex and the Lop. Yeah, it's horrible. Like some of my Americans have always been kind of prone to pretty sizable molts, but the Harleys never do this, and that was a Harley buck. In fact, that picture I had on Facebook is Melanto. He's the Harlequin buck that I went best of breed with at Del Mar way back, like 5, 6 years ago. So he's getting a little long in the tooth, so to speak. He's kind of an old fella, and he's really having some molting issues. In fact, I got to go out and get some hay out of the barn for him tonight because wow. I I cleaned it all out and then went back out there an hour ago and it's his pin's covered again. Poor guy. I mean, it's funky. It's just big clumps everywhere. I think he's going to have a nice winter coat coming up underneath that. A lot of times they will say, the mysterious um, they've always said that when you get rabbits that hit a really, really hard molt in the fall, that means we have a really cold or wet or both winter coming. So it seems pretty suspicious to me that we're having such a drastic molt for sure. But I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I looked at the forecast for the winter and it looks like everybody's expecting kind of a colder winter. So definitely keep your hay up and keep an eye on everybody right now. If somebody looks like they're bloating, because that'll be kind of the first big acknowledgement that something's gone wrong. If they're looking a little bloated and off their feed, um, I should probably just put a video out talking about how to do it. But uh, stomach massages help an awful lot. But the big thing is fiber, fiber, and more fiber. And it looks like I'm gonna find my connection. So if I lose everybody, I'm sorry. So Michael says my California buck looks like he's wearing Depends. That's pretty funny. Ray, I raised New Zealand. It's 103 today, 104 yesterday, and 104 the day before. I can't remember really when it's been under 90, but my New Zealand's are doing good with the fans and misters. Wow, you're still really hot. We've cooled off. We're back into I think we hit 88 today and we were 92 like the day before. So, um, Robin's also, if you're a deer hunter, cold winters, thick fat layer. Oh, yeah, I guess I could see that. Elijah, not just the rabbits, my poultry are two, all the ducks already molted and about half the chickens. Yeah, our poultry looked the same way. I noticed some of the quail are starting to molt yesterday. We've got chickens that look like they've absolutely been half plucked. They're more, I think they're missing more feathers than they actually have at this point. Yeah, it's pretty rough. You can kind of help your chickens through that. I'm sure Elijah knows, he's got more poultry even than I do. Um, you can help your poultry through stuff like that if you can give them things like black oil sunflower seeds, or they've got a couple of really good higher protein um, chicken feeds out now. I want to say it's Neutrina or maybe it's Purina that's got the feather fixer, and it's got a higher, I think it's just protein that's big on it, but it's got a higher rate of whatever in the feed, and it kind of helps push them through a molt. Um, if ours don't improve here shortly, I may do that just because we're expecting cold weather, and right now the poor birds are naked. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the turkeys, to be honest, but the last time I was in the barn, I noticed quite a few feathers building up in the aisleway. So I'm sure they're starting to do the same thing. It's it's pretty interesting. Our dogs right now are even doing they're molting out the summer coat and starting to grow in their winter coat. And yeah, there's just, it looks awful around here. It's all fur and feathers everywhere, everywhere. Every time the wind blows, you get a mouthful of something. So, but yeah, just keep trying to push the animals through it, and hopefully everybody will be okay. Molt can be really tough on them. So I'm sure I know our chickens are starting to slack off a little bit finally on egg laying. As they start regrowing their feathers is when they really pretty much stop for a while. Uh, for some reason, most people seem to think that they'll stop when the molt starts, and that's not really the case because when they start into the molt, the feathers are dropping, but it's not until the feathers start regrowing that egg production really kind of drops off. So um, definitely a multi time of year for everybody. So hopefully everybody's keeping their critters comfortable. We're already somehow a week into September, so I'm hoping that cooler weather is ahead for all of us. Um, Elijah, how about your geese? You know what? I haven't been in the geese pen or the goose pen in probably it's probably been 3 or 4 weeks. Canaan does most of the poultry. Um, I haven't been in there lately, so I'm not real sure. They molt typically just like ducks, so I would imagine that they're molting now. I just haven't paid much attention. Um, I guess when they're I'll have to go in there tonight to close buildings up and everything, and I starting to molt. I turned on the fan in the one building today, and all these little cute feathers went airborne. So everybody's kind of doing the whole molt thing, but hopefully it'll all be over soon. Um, and with that goes gardening. So I've decided not to really grow anything this winter. I got cold and it was just hard to get hoses in there to water. I'm not going to fool with it this year. I'm going to tinker with some lettuces and stuff under the grow lights in the sunroom. But other than that, I'm really not going to do much. I decided not to really do any fall crops. And part of that is just that I've got some stuff in the pantry that's getting a little long in dates, and I'd rather try and eat our way through some of that than the further stuff, which tends to happen. But I want to try and work our way through some of that so that I've got a better idea of what to be growing this next summer and spring. The other thing that we're starting to do right now, and we mentioned it on that top 10 things we're doing right now video or whatever it was called. I'm starting to put the garden to rest.